The Seeker's Lamp Podcast. Season 1 Episode 22. The Dalai Lama in Tibetan Buddhism. Tibetan Buddhism emerged in Tibet and later expanded to neighboring regions like Mongolia, China, India, and Nepal. This branch of Buddhism is renowned for its extensive array of philosophical ideas, ethical principles, meditation practices, tantra teachings, artistic expressions, and intricate rituals. A distinguishing characteristic of Tibetan Buddhism is the presence of the Dalai Lama, who serves as both the spiritual and temporal leader of the Tibetan people. The title of Dalai Lama is specifically associated with the head of the Gelug school, which is one of the four main schools within Tibetan Buddhism. The term Dalai translates to ocean in Mongolian, while Lama signifies guru or teacher in Tibetan. This title was initially bestowed upon Sonam Gyatso by Altan Khan, the ruler of Mongolia, in 1578, thus making him the third Dalai Lama. Subsequently, the first and second Dalai Lamas were retrospectively recognized as well. In accordance with the principles of Tibetan Buddhist philosophy, it is believed that every Dalai Lama is the reincarnation of his predecessor, embodying the essence of Avalokiteshvara or Chenrezig, the bodhisattva renowned for compassion and revered as the patron saint of Tibet. The Dalai Lamas possess a unique bond with Tibet and its inhabitants, willingly opting to be reborn repeatedly in order to fulfill their duty of serving them. This sacred commitment to the Tibetan people is considered a divine calling that transcends time and space. The identification and recognition of the reincarnation of the Dalai Lama is a complex process that relies on various methods. These methods include the visions and dreams of senior lamas, the instructions left by the previous Dalai Lama, the divination of oracles, and the signs and indications exhibited by the candidates. After undergoing a rigorous examination and confirmation, the final decision is made by a group of distinguished lamas and Tibetan officials. In Tibetan Buddhism, the Dalai Lama holds the esteemed title bestowed upon the foremost spiritual leader of the Gelug or Yellow Hat school. This school is the most recent and influential among the four major schools of Tibetan Buddhism. The Dalai Lama is regarded as the successor in a lineage of Tulkus, individuals believed to be incarnations of Avalokiteshvara, the bodhisattva of compassion. Since the 17th century, starting with the fifth Dalai Lama, this revered figure has symbolized the unity of Tibet and has served as a representative of Buddhist principles and customs. The title, Dalai Lama, is a fusion of the Mongolic term Dalai, which signifies ocean or great, and the Tibetan term Lama, which means master or guru. In Tibetan, the Dalai Lama is also referred to as the Rinpoche Rinpoche, meaning the precious conqueror, or simply as the Rinpoche. The first Dalai Lama, Geduen Drupa, was born in 1391 in a humble village in Tibet. He was acknowledged as the reincarnation of the preceding spiritual leader, Dromtenpa, and embraced monastic life at the tender age of 11. Under the tutelage of several esteemed mentors, he delved deep into the teachings of Buddhism and laid the foundation for the Tashi Lunpo Monastery. Moreover, he authored numerous influential treatises on philosophy, ethics, and meditation. At the venerable age of 83, in 1474, he departed from this mortal realm, leaving behind an enduring legacy of sagacity and benevolence. The second Dalai Lama, Geduen Gyatso. In the year 1475, a child was born into a family of farmers in the heart of Tibet. Little did they know that this child would be identified as the reincarnation of the esteemed first Dalai Lama, Geduen Drupa, at the tender age of 11. His upbringing led him to study at the renowned Tashi Lunpo and Drepung monasteries, where he immersed himself in the teachings of Buddhism. With his exceptional scholarly abilities, he eventually rose to the esteemed position of abbot at both monasteries. Throughout his life, he dedicated himself to deepening his understanding of Buddhist philosophy and practice, leaving behind a legacy of profound writings. Sadly, in 1542, at the age of 67, he passed away, leaving behind a lasting impact on the world. The third Dalai Lama was Sonam Gyatso, a Tibetan Buddhist monk belonging to the Gelugpa school, Sonam Gyatso was born near Lhasa in 1543. Displaying exceptional intellect and dedication, he eventually became the abbot of Drepung and Sera monasteries. His profound knowledge and teaching abilities earned him great respect among prominent lamas. In a significant turn of events, Sonam Gyatso was bestowed with the title of Dalai Lama by Altan Khan in 1578. Altan Khan, a descendant of Genghis Khan and a Mongolian prince, recognized the monk's wisdom and named him Ocean of Wisdom in Mongolian. This act marked the beginning of a lasting relationship between the Gelugpa school and the Mongolian people, as Altan Khan actively supported the spread of Buddhism among the Mongols. Sonam Gyatso was also acknowledged as the reincarnation of Gendun Gyatso, who himself was believed to be the reincarnation of Gendun Drub, the founder of the Dalai Lama lineage. However, due to historical circumstances, Sonam Gyatso was referred to as the third Dalai Lama, as his two predecessors were posthumously granted the title. Tragically, Sonam Gyatso passed away in 1588 while in Mongolia, where he had journeyed to propagate the teachings of Buddhism. His legacy was carried forward by his great-grandnephew, Yonten Gyatso, a Mongolian prince who succeeded him as the next Dalai Lama. The fourth Dalai Lama, Yonten Gyatso, was a remarkable figure in Tibetan history. He was the solitary Dalai Lama to be born in Mongolia, hailing from the lineage of a tribal chieftain and the great-grandson of Altan Khan, a formidable Mongol ruler who had fostered a close alliance with the third Dalai Lama. The Tibetan delegation, adhering to the predictions of the state oracles, acknowledged him as the reincarnation of the third Dalai Lama. His initial education was imparted in Mongolia before embarking on a journey to Tibet at the tender age of 12. Eventually, he ascended to the position of abbot in both the Drepung and Sera monasteries, receiving full ordination from the fourth Panchen Lama. His demise occurred at the Drepung monastery in 1617 when he was merely 27 years old. Throughout his life, he was renowned for his sagacity, benevolence, and spiritual accomplishments. The fifth Dalai Lama, Nawang Lobsang Gyatso, born in 1617 into a noble family with connections to diverse Buddhist lineages, left an indelible mark on Tibetan history. At a tender age, he was acknowledged as the reincarnation of the fourth Dalai Lama and received teachings from esteemed masters representing various traditions. With the support of his Mongol allies, he became the first Dalai Lama to wield both spiritual and temporal authority over Tibet. In the wake of prolonged civil wars, he successfully unified the country and established diplomatic ties with China and neighboring nations. Nawang Lobsang Gyatso's visionary pursuits extended beyond political achievements. He undertook the monumental task of constructing the illustrious Potala Palace, which would serve as the iconic residence for future Dalai Lamas in Lhasa. Additionally, his scholarly endeavors were prodigious, as he authored numerous treatises on Buddhist philosophy, history, poetry, and art. Furthermore, he unveiled hidden teachings through the revelation of sacred treasures known as Terma. Although Nawang Lobsang Gyatso passed away in 1682, his regent kept his death a secret for 15 years. Today, he is revered as the great fifth Dalai Lama, standing as a pivotal figure in Tibetan Buddhism and culture. His contributions have left an indelible imprint on the intellectual and spiritual landscape of Tibet, ensuring his enduring legacy. The sixth Dalai Lama, Sangyang Gyatso, a figure of great controversy in Tibetan history, was born in 1683 in Monyul, a region that now belongs to India. At the tender age of 14, he was identified as the reincarnation of the fifth Dalai Lama. However, unlike his predecessors, he chose to stray from the conventional path of a monastic lifestyle. Instead, he relinquished his vows, adopted the appearance of a layman, and indulged in worldly pleasures such as drinking, poetry, and relationships with women. Additionally, Sangyang Gyatso composed numerous love songs that continue to resonate among Tibetans to this day. This unconventional behavior sparked political upheaval in Tibet, which was under the influence of both the Mongols and the Qing dynasty of China. In 1705, Sangyang Gyatso, Sangyeong Gyatso's regent who had concealed the death of the 5th Dalai Lama for 15 years, was assassinated by Lobsang Khan, a Mongol ruler. The following year, Lobsang Khan abducted Sangyeong Gyatso with the intention of bringing him to Beijing. However, the 6th Dalai Lama never reached his destination. His ultimate fate remains unknown, although some believe that he managed to escape and lived out his days as a hermit in Amdo until his passing. The life and death of Sangyeong Gyatso are enveloped in enigma and legend. Different individuals regard him as a rebel, a poet, or even a saint. His legacy endures within the hearts and minds of countless people, serving as a constant reminder of his multifaceted existence. The 7th Dalai Lama, Kelsang Gyatso, an extraordinary individual in Tibetan history, was born in 1708 in Lithang, a region renowned for its production of eminent masters. He was acknowledged as the reincarnation of the 6th Dalai Lama, Sangyeong Gyatso, whose demise remains shrouded in mystery. Throughout his life, Kelsang Gyatso encountered numerous challenges and perils as Tibet faced invasions from both the Mongols and the Chinese. Consequently, he was forced to flee from Lhasa on multiple occasions, spending many years living in exile. Notably, Kelsang Gyatso possessed a profound intellect and poetic prowess. He authored a multitude of works delving into Buddhist philosophy, practice, and history. His compositions included exquisite songs that encapsulated his spiritual enlightenment, demonstrating his unwavering devotion to his teachers and his boundless compassion for all sentient beings. Sadly, Kelsang Gyatso's life came to an end in 1757 at the age of 49, leaving behind a legacy of wisdom and benevolence that continues to inspire his people and the world at large. The 8th Dalai Lama of Tibet was Jamphal Gyatso, was born in 1758 in the Upper Usang region of southwestern Tibet. His parents hailed from Kham and were descendants of a legendary hero from the Gezer epic. At a tender age, he was acknowledged as the reincarnation of the 7th Dalai Lama and was ceremoniously enthroned in the majestic Potala Palace in 1762. His monastic education was diligently imparted by revered masters, including the esteemed Panchen Lama. An architect of both spirituality and culture, Jamphal Gyatso was instrumental in the construction of the Norbulinka Park and Summer Palace, which served as cherished sanctuaries for future Dalai Lamas. His profound journey came to an end in 1804, at the age of 47, leaving behind a profound legacy of spiritual enlightenment and cultural accomplishments. The 9th Dalai Lama, Lungtok Gyatso, born in 1805 in Kham, an eastern region of Tibet, was acknowledged as the reincarnation of the 8th Dalai Lama when he was merely 3 years old. In 1810, he was enthroned at the majestic Potala Palace in Lhasa, and 2 years later, he received his novice vows from the esteemed 7th Panchen Lama. Noted by an English explorer for his delightful demeanor, Lungtok Gyatso displayed remarkable curiosity and intellect in his pursuit of Buddhist teachings. Tragically, at the tender age of 9, he succumbed to illness after contracting a cold during a religious celebration in 1815. His untimely passing marked the first of 4 successive Dalai Lamas who would not live to see adulthood, a tumultuous period that brought instability to Tibet. Numerous biographies and artistic creations pay homage to his life and enduring legacy. The 10th Dalai Lama, Tsultrim Gyatso, born in 1816 in Kamdo, a region in eastern Tibet, was acknowledged as the reincarnation of the 9th Dalai Lama, Lungtok Gyatso, in the year 1820. This recognition followed an extensive search and was confirmed through the use of a golden urn. At the tender age of 6, in 1822, Tsultrim Gyatso was enthroned and received full ordination within the Gelug school of Tibetan Buddhism. Throughout his life, he diligently studied the sutras and tantras, imparting his knowledge to numerous students. Additionally, he undertook the task of reconstructing the magnificent Potala Palace. Tragically, at the youthful age of 21, Tsultrim Gyatso passed away in 1837, leaving behind a legacy of wisdom and spiritual guidance. The 11th Dalai Lama was Kedrup Gyatso, born on November 1, 1838 in Gathar, Kham, Tibet, was identified as the reincarnation of the 10th Dalai Lama, Tsultrim Gyatso, when he was just 2 years old in 1840. Coincidentally, he hailed from the same village as the 7th Dalai Lama, Kelsang Gyatso, who was born in 1708. In 1842, Kedrup Gyatso was enthroned in the esteemed Potala Palace located in Lhasa, the capital of Tibet. It was during this time that he received his novice ordination from the 7th Panchen Lama, Palden Tenpai Nyama. The Panchen Lama bestowed upon him the monastic name Kedrup Gyatso, which translates to Ocean of Knowledge. Additionally, he diligently delved into the study of Buddhist scriptures and philosophy under the guidance of other respected lamas. Remarkably, at a mere 17 years old in 1855, Kedrup Gyatso assumed full authority as the leader of the Tibetan government. Unfortunately, his reign was short-lived as he tragically passed away on January 31, 1856, within the walls of the Grand Potala Palace. His untimely demise left a profound void in the hearts of Tibet and its people who held great expectations for his leadership. Kedrup Gyatso left behind a legacy beyond his political role. He penned a collection of stanzas titled Story of the Monkeys and Birds, a moral tale that explores themes of greed and generosity. His compassion and wisdom were highly regarded by those who knew him. Following his passing, he was succeeded by the 12th Dalai Lama, Trinley Gyatso, born in 1857. The 12th Dalai Lama was Trinley Gyatso, who was born on the 26th of January 1857 in Loka, a region located in southern Tibet, was acknowledged as the reincarnation of the previous Dalai Lama in 1858. He was officially enthroned in 1860 at the magnificent Potala Palace in Lhasa, which served as the capital of Tibet. Trinley Gyatso received an extensive religious education from various tutors, one of whom was the esteemed 8th Panchen Lama. This eminent figure not only held seniority over Trinley Gyatso but also became a trusted ally and mentor. Trinley Gyatso's reign unfolded during a tumultuous period in Tibetan history, characterized by political unrest and conflicts with neighboring states. Tibet found itself under the nominal authority of the Qing dynasty of China, which was grappling with internal rebellions and foreign invasions. Additionally, the ever-expanding British Empire, which had already colonized India, sought to exert its influence over Tibet. To safeguard its autonomy and sovereignty, Tibet implemented strict measures such as prohibiting Europeans from entering its borders while emphasizing its affiliation with China. However, Trinley Gyatso did not have much opportunity to exercise his complete authority as the Dalai Lama, as he succumbed to a mysterious illness on April 25, 1875, at the tender age of 18. Some sources propose that his regent, driven by a desire to extend his own power, may have poisoned him. This untimely demise created a void of power in Tibet, which was swiftly filled by his successor, the 13th Dalai Lama. The 13th Dalai Lama went on to become one of Tibet's most influential and progressive leaders, leaving an indelible mark on the nation's history. Trinley Gyatso's life was fleeting but profoundly meaningful, serving as a bridge between Tibet's past and its future. He was widely venerated as both a spiritual guide and a compassionate soul, leaving behind a collection of teachings and poetic works for his devoted followers to cherish. The 13th Dalai Lama, Thubten Gyatso, a remarkable Tibetan leader who lived from 1876 to 1933, was a man of great significance. Born in a small village in central Tibet, he was identified as the reincarnation of the Dalai Lama when he was merely 2 years old. In 1879, he was officially enthroned at the majestic Potala Palace in Lhasa. However, it wasn't until 1895, upon completing his religious education, that he assumed full political authority. Throughout his rule, Thubten Gyatso faced numerous trials. These included the British invasion of Tibet in 1904, the collapse of the Qing Empire in 1911, and the ever-looming threats from the Republic of China and the Soviet Union. Despite these challenges, he fearlessly initiated various reforms aimed at modernizing Tibet. His efforts encompassed improvements in education, healthcare, military infrastructure, and administration. His unwavering courage, wisdom, and visionary leadership earned him the title, the Great 13th. Sadly, Thubten Gyatso's life came to an end in 1933 at the age of 57. However, his legacy endures. He bequeathed Tibet with a spirit of independence and modernization. Additionally, he left behind a prophecy that foretold the future tribulations that his successor, the 14th Dalai Lama, would inevitably encounter. The 14th and current Dalai Lama is Tenzin Gyatso, born in 1935 to a humble family in rural Tibet, was identified as the reincarnation of the 13th Dalai Lama, Thubten Gyatso, when he was just 2 years old. At the tender age of 4, he was enthroned in Lhasa, the capital of Tibet. However, his ascent to power was overshadowed by China's invasion of Tibet in 1950. Despite the challenging circumstances, Tenzin Gyatso assumed full political authority and governance. In 1959, following an unsuccessful uprising against Chinese rule, the 14th Dalai Lama sought refuge in India. Since then, he has resided in Dharamsala, India, where he established a democratic government in exile for his fellow Tibetans. Throughout his life, the Dalai Lama has gained immense admiration as both a spiritual guide and an advocate for peace, human rights, and interfaith dialogue. His teachings on Buddhism have traversed the globe, and he has tirelessly championed the welfare and freedom of Tibetans. Beyond his spiritual leadership, the Dalai Lama has also actively participated in various scientific, educational, and environmental endeavors. In recognition of his unwavering commitment to nonviolent resistance and the liberation of Tibet, he was honored with the Nobel Peace Prize in 1989. His life and work serve as an inspiration to countless individuals seeking enlightenment and a better world. The issue of succession for the 14th Dalai Lama has become a highly contentious and debated topic between Tibetans and China. The Dalai Lama himself has made it clear that he will be the one to decide whether he will be reincarnated or not, and that only he possesses the authority to identify his successor. In addition, he has expressed the possibility of being reborn outside of Tibet or even as a female. Furthermore, he has suggested the idea of Tibetans electing his successor or even discontinuing the institution of the Dalai Lama altogether. In contrast, China asserts its right to approve and appoint the next Dalai Lama, citing historical and legal precedents as the basis for its claim. China has also implemented a law that regulates the process of reincarnation for Tibetan Buddhist lamas. Additionally, China has issued a stern warning that any attempts to separate Tibet from China will be met with force. They view the Dalai Lama as a separatist and a disruptor who aims to divide Tibet from China. This dispute reflects the fundamental differences in perspective and interests between Tibetans and China. While the Dalai Lama seeks to ensure the continuation of his legacy and Tibetan autonomy, China remains steadfast in its commitment to maintaining control over Tibet and preventing any form of separatism. The resolution of this complex issue remains uncertain, as both sides remain resolute in their respective positions. The resolution of this matter will play a significant role in determining the future of Tibetan Buddhism and its followers. The Dalai Lama holds immense importance as both a religious figure and a symbol representing Tibetan identity, culture, and resistance. The consequences of his reincarnation will extend far beyond the realm of spirituality, impacting the continuity and legitimacy of Tibetan Buddhism, as well as the political and social stability of Tibet and its relationship with China. For more than 6 centuries, the Dalai Lamas have served as the spiritual and temporal leaders of Tibet. Their influence has left an indelible mark on the history, culture, and sense of self of the Tibetan people. Through their teachings and acts of wisdom and compassion, they have touched the lives of countless individuals across the globe, inspiring admiration and reverence. The future trajectory of Tibetan Buddhism hinges on the resolution of this intricate issue. It holds implications not only for the followers of this ancient faith but also for the broader dynamics between Tibet and China. The selection of the next Dalai Lama will undoubtedly shape the course of Tibetan spirituality, while also influencing the delicate socio-political balance in the region. As we navigate these complex waters, it becomes clear that the fate of Tibetan Buddhism is deeply intertwined with the outcome of this consequential decision.